Hello, welcome back to our weekly devotions. I'm Pastor David Schoob at Trinity Lutheran Church in West Bend, and we continue our journey toward Christmas. And we read today from the first chapter of John's Gospel. John writes, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things came into being through him, and without him not one thing came into being. What has come into being in him was life. And the life was the light of all people. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it. And the Word became flesh and lived among us, and we have seen his glory, the glory as of a Father's only Son, full of grace and truth. John testified to him and cried out, 'This was he of whom I said, he who comes after me ranks ahead of me, because he was before me.' From his fullness we have all received grace upon grace. The law indeed was given through Moses. Grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. No one has ever seen God. It is God, the only Son, who is close to the Father's heart, who has made him known." We often read this passage on Christmas Day, and we're reminded that the true light is Jesus Christ. And that light means the most to us when we're somehow struggling in the midst of darkness. And the truth is that we all struggle in darkness at times in our life. And not only that, but the world is filled with darkness when we look at it sometimes. And Jesus comes among us to show us that the darkness which surrounds us and is within us can never overcome the light of God's love and compassion and mercy and presence with us each and every day. The problem as we prepare for Christmas sometimes is that this true light gets kind of lost in all the big lights of the season on the stores and on our trees and the lights that surround us everywhere. There's an interesting image I ran across quite a few years ago now. A pastor told the story of being the new pastor in a college community. Every Wednesday there was a worship in an upper room in the school, and the first few weeks people had always set the room up. But then, one week, he came into the building and there were no lights. Seeing he had never set up anything himself, he had no idea where the light switches were, and so he was kind of wondering what he was going to do when he got into this totally dark building. So he opened the door and hoped that he could kind of feel his way along and eventually find the light switches. But there at the end of the hall it was, lo and behold, the Coke machine. He had never really noticed it before because the lights were always on, but now it had that gentle light that kind of bathed the hallway and allowed him to find his way to the light switches. I don't know, maybe there's something sacrilegious about comparing the light of the world to a Coke machine, but we sometimes lose sight of that light amidst all the other glowing lights that are out there. But when we're lost and unsure, the light of Christ shines forth for us. This is the true light. This is the saving light. And in the end, it's far more powerful and meaningful than all the shining holiday lights put together in the world. Those holiday lights only shine, in essence, to remind us of what the true light really is. The light of Christ is all around us constantly, but most of the time, we're not really very aware of it. We don't appreciate it. We don't understand it, and then the darkness comes. Darkness comes into all our lives because we live in a world that's broken and hurting and filled with sin. And when the darkness comes, the light Jesus offers is incredibly, incredibly powerful. And there's no darkness that can overcome it. So I encourage you to pay attention to the light and think about it as you listen to the song, "Light of the World" by Lauren Daigle. And may the light shine throughout your preparations for the coming of Christ.